Picture this. You're standing in a storm of chaos. People shouting, egos clashing, agendas colliding. Yet there you are, unshaken, a quiet force no one can read. You don't need to roar to command respect. Your presence alone unnerves those who dare challenge you. That's the Sigma male edge, and it's why you're here. Welcome to Sigma Male Community, where we forge men who thrive in silence, outsmart their rivals, and redefine strength through self-mastery. Today we're diving into 11 genius ways Sigmas outsmart and confuse their enemies, turning their opponents' own moves against them. These aren't just tactics. They're a way of life rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, designed to elevate you above the noise. Get ready to arm yourself with strategies that make you untouchable. 1. The Art of Emotional Invisibility. In a world obsessed with emotional outbursts, the Sigma male wields a rare power: emotional invisibility. This isn't about bottling up feelings, it's about mastering them, projecting a calm so profound it becomes a fortress. When enemies hurl insults or provocations, expecting anger or fear, they find nothing but serene stillness. This absence of reaction is a weapon, disorienting opponents who rely on emotional cues to manipulate or dominate. Like a shadow slipping through their grasp, the Sigma's inner world remains a locked vault, leaving adversaries swinging at air, their energy wasted on a target they can't touch. This disciplined restraint, rooted in stoic clarity, turns their aggression into a mirror of their own futility. The power of emotional invisibility lies in its ability to shift the battlefield. By refusing to engage in the reactive dance, the Sigma forces enemies into a psychological quagmire. They second-guess their approach, wondering if their taunts landed or if the Sigma is plotting something unseen. This uncertainty erodes their confidence, making them predictable as they overreach to provoke a response. Meanwhile, the Sigma observes with razor-sharp focus, gathering insights into their opponent's weaknesses. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. By mastering this inner control, the Sigma turns silence into a strategic ambush, leaving enemies exhausted and exposed. 2. The Calculated Compliance Gambit. Sometimes, the most devastating move is to let your enemy think they've won. The Sigma's Calculated Compliance Gambit is a masterclass in deception, not through lies but through strategic agreement. By nodding along, appearing to align with an opponent's plans, the Sigma infiltrates their strategy like a spy in plain sight. This isn't weakness, it's a deliberate choice to let the enemy lower their guard, basking in a false sense of victory. While they celebrate, the Sigma studies their blueprint, spotting every flaw, every weak joint, ready to dismantle it when the moment is right. The genius of this tactic is its delayed impact. When the Sigma strikes, it's not a loud rebellion but a precise demolition. Having used compliance to gain insider knowledge, they exploit the enemy's overconfidence, turning their own plan into a trap. The opponent, blindsided, realizes too late that their victory was orchestrated by the very person they underestimated. This approach embodies the Stoic principle of patience, as Seneca advises. Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. By playing the long game, the Sigma ensures their triumph is not just a win, but a lesson in humility for their adversary. 3. Kindness as a tactical nuke. Imagine facing a raging opponent, fists clenched, ready for battle, and responding with calm, genuine-seeming kindness. This is the Sigma's tactical nuke, disarming hostility with unexpected decency. Far from naivety, this is psychological warfare, rooted in stoic equanimity. When an enemy expects a fight, the Sigma's offer of help or understanding throws them into disarray. Their aggressive momentum crashes against this unyielding warmth, leaving them confused, questioning their own motives and often grappling with guilt. It's a move that flips the script, turning their hostility into a liability. This kindness isn't about surrender, it's about control. By refusing to meet aggression with aggression, the Sigma seizes the moral and strategic high ground. The enemy, braced for conflict, finds their narrative shattered, forced to confront their own pettiness in the mirror of the Sigma's composure. This disruption can unravel even the most calculated attacks, as the opponent hesitates, unsure whether they're the villain. Epictetus taught, "We are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them." By wielding kindness as a weapon, the Sigma reshapes the battlefield, leaving enemies disoriented and disarmed, all while maintaining unshakable inner peace. 4. The pressure absorption void. Sigmas possess a near-mythical ability to absorb pressure without flinching. Threats, ultimatums, or chaos hit them and vanish like rain on stone. This isn't passive endurance. It's an active choice to transform external turmoil into internal stillness, a hallmark of stoic resilience. Enemies, expecting panic or submission, find their efforts swallowed by the Sigma's unyielding calm. This void of reaction frustrates opponents, pushing them to escalate recklessly, revealing their weaknesses in the process. The Sigma stands as a monument to self-mastery, untouchable amid the storm. This composure is a strategic observatory. While enemies exhaust themselves, the Sigma analyzes their every move, noting insecurities and missteps. The lack of response becomes a provocation, forcing opponents to overplay their hand. As they spiral into frustration, the Sigma waits, poised to act with surgical precision when the moment is ripe. Seneca's wisdom rings true: no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. By embracing pressure as a test of character, the Sigma turns it into an opportunity, emerging stronger while their enemies crumble under their own weight. 5. Mastering the shadow dance, invisibility until impact. In a world craving attention, the Sigma thrives in the shadows. Visibility often invites attack, so they choose strategic obscurity, letting others underestimate or overlook them. This isn't hiding. It's a deliberate cloak of anonymity that allows the Sigma to move unseen, mapping the terrain and identifying weaknesses. Enemies focus on louder targets, dismissing the quiet observer as irrelevant. But in this perceived insignificance lies the Sigma's power, a stoic discipline of restraint that sets the stage for a devastating strike. When the Sigma emerges, it's not a gradual reveal but a sudden, game-changing blow. Their action, perfectly timed, rewrites the narrative in an instant, leaving enemies scrambling to understand how the non-factor outmaneuvered them. This shadow dance embodies the Stoic principle of timing, as Marcus Aurelius noted: the time is at hand when you will have forgotten everything, and the time is at hand when all will have forgotten you. By staying invisible until the moment of impact, the Sigma ensures their moves are both unexpected and unforgettable, proving true power lies in the unseen. 6. Exploiting the Arrogance blind spot. Arrogance is a fortress with a hidden crack, and Sigmas are master architects at exploiting it. Rather than challenging an enemy's hubris, they feed it, subtly encouraging overconfidence. By letting opponents believe in their own superiority, the Sigma lulls them into carelessness, revealing their true intentions and critical errors. This tactic, rooted in Stoic patience, turns the enemy's strength into their downfall. The Sigma watches, silent and observant, as arrogance builds a shaky tower ripe for collapse. The victory comes not through confrontation but through precision. The Sigma waits until the enemy's overconfidence peaks, then applies minimal pressure to the weakest point. The result is catastrophic for the opponent, who realizes too late that their perceived dominance was a delusion nurtured by the Sigma's restraint. As Ovid said, the cause is hidden but the result is known. By understanding the hidden flaw in arrogance, the Sigma orchestrates a defeat that feels inevitable, leaving enemies humbled by their own hubris. 7. The Misdirection Architect. Sigmas don't just defend, they design labyrinths of confusion. When under scrutiny, they lay subtle traps: a casual comment hinting at a false priority, a feigned focus on an irrelevant task. These breadcrumbs lead enemies down dead-end paths, chasing illusions while the Sigma pursues their true objectives undisturbed. This isn't deceit, it's strategic misdirection, a Stoic exercise in controlling perception. Enemies, convinced they're unraveling the Sigma's plan, waste energy on phantoms, blind to the real game unfolding. The brilliance lies in the enemy's conviction. They believe they're outsmarting the Sigma when in reality, they're dancing to a choreography they don't understand. By the time they realize the trail was false, the Sigma's goal is achieved, their position unassailable. This tactic reflects the Stoic principle of focus, as Epictetus advised: you become what you give your attention to. By diverting the enemy's attention, the Sigma ensures their own focus remains sharp, turning misdirection into a masterstroke of efficiency. 8. The Obsession Engine, turning their focus against them. Sigmas understand that being a mystery can be a weapon. By cultivating scarcity of information, reactions, or emotional tells, they become an enigma that enemies can't resist trying to solve. This scarcity fuels obsession, drawing adversaries into a cycle of analysis and speculation. They dissect every silence, misread every calm, and build elaborate narratives that lead nowhere. The Sigma, rooted in stoic detachment, simply allows this fixation to consume their opponent's energy. This obsession becomes the enemy's cage. While they're distracted, chasing shadows, the Sigma operates freely, achieving their goals without interference. The enemies focus on figuring out, the Sigma drains their resources, leaving them vulnerable. As Carl Jung noted, what you resist not only persists but will grow in size. By not resisting scrutiny, the Sigma amplifies it, turning the enemy's attention into a self-inflicted wound, while they move forward with serene purpose. 9. The Intention Camouflage Field. Sigmas operate behind a veil of ambiguity, their true intentions hidden in a shifting fog. One moment they seem engaged, the next detached, focused on one goal while their energy is elsewhere. This fluidity, a stoic embrace of adaptability, makes them impossible to predict. Enemies trying to pin down the Sigma's motives find their assumptions crumbling, their plans misfiring. This constant uncertainty keeps opponents reactive, always a step behind. The power of this camouflage lies in its subtlety. The Sigma doesn't need to lie, they simply project enough ambiguity to keep enemies guessing. This forces adversaries into a hesitant, defensive posture, wasting energy on contingencies that may never exist. Heraclitus said, "The only constant in life is change." By embodying this change, the Sigma moves with purpose through the fog they create, consolidating their position while enemies chase yesterday's mirage. 10. Detachment, the ultimate disruptor. In a world addicted to emotional drama, the Sigma's detachment is revolutionary. They strip ego, pride, and reactive anger from their decisions, seeing provocations as mere data points. This isn't coldness, it's stoic clarity, a refusal to let emotions cloud judgment. Enemies, trained to exploit fear or anger, find their tactics useless against this unyielding logic. Their emotional hooks find no purchase, leaving them disarmed in an unfamiliar landscape. This detachment disrupts the enemy's entire playbook. Unable to provoke a reaction, they grow paranoid, unable to gauge their success or escalate effectively. The Sigma's calm becomes a void that breeds strategic paralysis, forcing opponents to second-guess every move. As Buddha taught, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. By mastering their mind, the Sigma becomes untouchable, watching enemies flounder in the silence of their own irrelevance. 11. The Phantom Reset. When the game grows stale or enemies become too fixated, the Sigma wields the ultimate power, disappearance. Not a physical retreat but a strategic withdrawal of presence and energy. They become unreachable, unresponsive, severing the conflict's lifeline. This isn't defeat, it's a stoic reset, forcing enemies to confront an echo of their own making. Their strategies collapse, their provocations go unanswered, and their sense of relevance fades. This absence is a psychological earthquake. Enemies, left grappling with ambiguity, question whether they've won, lost, or been abandoned. Meanwhile, the Sigma uses this pause to regroup, gain perspective, or let the situation decay. When they return, it's on new terms, catching opponents off guard. As Bruce Lee said, "Be like water." By flowing away and returning unpredictably, the Sigma controls the conflict's very existence, leaving enemies perpetually off balance. There you have it, 11 genius ways Sigma males outsmart and confuse their enemies, turning the battlefield into a masterclass of strategy and self-mastery. These aren't just tools, they're a blueprint for living with purpose, resilience, and unshakable calm. If this video sparked something in you, hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and share it with the men in your life who need this wisdom. If you're already subscribed, turn on notifications to never miss a dose of Sigma Male Community's guidance. The path to becoming a high-value Sigma male is a journey of constant growth. Reflect on these strategies, apply them, and watch how you rise above the chaos. Sigma Male Community is your guide to mastering yourself and your world. So subscribe, engage, and let's build a brotherhood of men who redefine strength. Until next time, stay sharp, stay stoic, and stay unstoppable.